Welcome back to the Destiny of Oracles, Cancer. Today's energy feels unusually delicate. So I feel like one person has been protecting their heart by staying quiet, while the other person has been searching for some sort of emotional reassurance. So this connection doesn't feel finished, but it does feel emotionally out of synchronization. As always, this is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest. Tarot reflects the current state of energy, and always remember that free will always be there. So, Cancer, because your sign naturally seeks the emotional security and often retreats into your shell when you are deeply hurt. So I have a feeling that today's energy is going to reveal not just what this person is feeling, but why the two of you seem to be experiencing this connection so differently. So, the first thing I want to uncover is the current energy between you and your person. I want to understand the relationship dynamics between the two of you. And are the two of you emotionally moving towards each other, or are you moving in completely different directions? Let's shuffle and see what Spirit wants to reveal to me. Okay, so we have got the Empress, the Nine of Cups, and the Six of Swords in reverse. This is actually a very interesting dynamic because Cancer, despite everything that may have happened between the two of you, this connection hasn't lost its emotional value. The Empress is present here, and it immediately tells me that one person, maybe very likely you, is still viewed as someone that's deeply nurturing, comforting, and emotionally significant. So, even if there has been distance, your person hasn't completely detached from your energy. At the same time, we have got the Nine of Cups that suggests that there is still a very genuine desire here. Deep down, this person still associates this connection with happiness, emotional fulfillment, or a version of life that they once imagined. The contradiction, however, is that they are far more comfortable thinking about that happiness that they have been actually pursuing. So they want to pursue that happiness. Now, here is where this relationship dynamics becomes a little bit complicated because with the presence of the Six of Swords in reverse, neither of you seems to have truly moved on emotionally. Cancer, your sign often revisits the memories and searches for emotional safety before letting go. And this spread reflects that beautifully. One or perhaps both of you keep returning to the unfinished emotions instead of finding a genuine closure. So, the biggest truth here is that in this connection, it's not about lack of feelings, it's lack of the emotional movement. Somebody keeps looking back instead of deciding what comes next. And the spicy part? I don't think this person expected your emotional presence to remain this strong in their mind. They may have believed that time or distance would naturally weaken the connection, but instead, they're finding themselves emotionally pulled back towards you again and again. So, because of that, I feel that their current behavior is likely to be inconsistent. They may quietly watch or think about reaching to you or revisit the old conversations and memories, but they still hesitate to create a real forward momentum. But here's what doesn't add up. If the feelings are still there, what's stopping them from allowing themselves to fully express them? Let's uncover their true feelings for you next. Spirit, please guide me about the true feelings of this person for the Cancerians. We have got the King of Pentacles, the Four of Swords, and the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So, Cancer, this is quite different from the previous section. This relationship dynamics showed me that there is emotional attachment, but these cards are revealing how your person actually experiences these emotions internally. With the King of Pentacles, it tells me their feelings are much more serious than they allow anyone else to see. So, this isn't someone who sees you as a passing attraction. They see long term potential, stability, and someone they could, genuinely build a future with. So, the feeling itself is grounded, it's real. But then we immediately run into the Four of Swords. And this is where everything slows down. So instead of acting on these feelings, this person now retreats into silence. They seem to believe that doing nothing is somehow safer than maybe risking a rejection or disrupting what little emotional control they still have. And Cancer, because your sign naturally craves emotional reassurance, this silence may feel like indifference. But these cards suggest it's much more closer to the emotional avoidance than the emotional absence. And the biggest contradiction appears with the presence of this Ace of Pentacles in reverse. I don't think this person believes the opportunity between the two of you is completely gone. But they do fear they have already damaged it. So there is a kind of a lingering worry that the right moment has passed, or that if they reached out now, they might not receive the response that they secretly hope for. So I feel the emotional truth is that their feelings are becoming more stable, not weaker. So the more serious they view this connection, the more cautious and inactive they become. That's an irony. I feel that this person may already know what they want, but they're, just questioning whether they still deserve a place in your life. And there's a very different type of fear. It's a type of fear that is just different from simply not caring. And because of that, their behavior is likely to remain passive for now. So rather than making a bold move, they'll continue observing, thinking, and trying to, convince themselves that they are making the responsible choice by waiting. But here's the problem. If these feelings are this genuine, what are they still refusing to admit, even to themselves? Let's uncover what this person is hiding from you. Spirit, please guide me. What this person is hiding from the Cancer. So we have got the Knight of Cups, And we have the Page of Pentacles in reverse and the Chariot card. Well, Cancer, this is where the energy becomes much more revealing because what they are hiding isn't a lack of feelings, it's the conflict between what their heart wants and what they believe they can actually do. So, the Knight of Cups, it tells me that this person still carries the desire to express themselves emotionally. They imagine the conversations with you, they think about what they could and they would say if they had the courage. There still has a romantic side of them that hasn't completely disappeared. But then we have this Page of Pentacles in reverse, and it actually interrupts this type of energy because this is someone who struggles to take the first practical step. They may keep waiting for the perfect moment, convincing themselves that they'll reach out later, while later never seems to arrive. Well, I feel like they may overthink because of their needs or because of whatever fear they are carrying. But for you, Cancer, you can wait for the emotional safety. And this person is waiting for that sense of safety from you. And then we have got this Chariot card, which is essentially significant because it is the Cancer's own card. To me, this says that the truth that they are refusing to admit is that they still want movement in this connection. They haven't, fully emotionally given up. And deep down, I feel that they still want to regain the control of the situation that has started controlling them. So I feel the biggest emotional truth is that this person still wants to move towards you, but they're hiding how strong that desire actually is. And I feel that they may even be trying to convince themselves that they have moved on while privately imagining what it would feel like to reconnect with you, Cancer. So outwardly, they appear very composed, but internally, they're fighting this urge to close this distance. Now, because of that, their behavior is becoming increasingly conflicted. They may start looking for small, low risk type of opportunities to reconnect, like checking your social media, responding indirectly, or creating subtle reasons to come back into your orbit without immediately making a full emotional confession. But here is what still doesn't make sense that if they secretly want a forward movement with you, Cancer, what's the fear that's keeping them from actually taking control of this whole connection? Let's uncover the real obstacle standing between the two of you. So we have the Seven of Cups, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Seven of Wands. Cancer, this spread tells me the obstacle isn't that love is missing. The obstacle is that both of you are approaching this connection from completely different emotional spaces. The Seven of Cups tells me that there's confusion surrounding this relationship. Like one person keeps questioning everything. What are they thinking? What if I make the wrong move? Or what if I'm reading the situation incorrectly? So instead of making a clear decision, They stay trapped in possibilities and uncertainty. Then we have got the Queen of Pentacles, and this changes the energy completely. This tells me that someone, very likely Cancer, is looking for something real, something stable, or emotionally dependable. Because Cancer naturally seeks security before opening their heart completely. And these cards suggest that you are no longer satisfied with the inconsistency. You want actions that match the words. Now we come to the Seven of Swords. Sorry, the Seven of Wands. This is where the real obstacle reveals itself because I feel like someone has built emotional walls so high that they now feel impossible for protecting those walls. Instead of fighting for the connection, they're constantly fighting against vulnerability. So I feel like that both of you may still care deeply, but you're protecting yourselves in very different ways. One is searching for certainty, while the other is defending themselves against the possibility of getting hurt again. So I don't think this person is only afraid of rejection. I think they're afraid that if they truly open up, they'll have to admit just how much this connection has affected them. And that's a level of vulnerability they have been trying to avoid. And because of these energies, this person may continue sending you mixed signals. They might take one small step forward, then retreat again when things begin to feel emotionally real. So the inconsistency isn't necessarily because their feelings are changing. It's because their defenses are still stronger than their courage. But here's the problem: if fear and emotional defenses disappeared completely, what would this person finally want Cancer to know? So let's uncover the words they have been carrying in their heart, but they have never found the courage to say to you, Cancer. So we have got the devil energy in reverse and the five of swords in reverse and the star card. Hmm. Cancer, these are the cards that feel like someone who's finally becoming pretty much exhausted by carrying the emotional weight of this connection. Because we have got this devil card in reverse, and it immediately tells me that the first thing they would want you to know is that I don't want to keep repeating the same unhealthy cycle between us anymore. Whether that cycle was silence, whether it was pride, fear, or some miscommunication or emotional avoidance, they're beginning to recognize that it's hurting them just as much as it is hurting you. So, this person wants to free themselves from the emotional patterns that have kept this relationship stuck. Then we move into this Five of Swords in reverse. And this is where it becomes more interesting and more revealing because this card tells me that they are tired of winning the battles that ultimately cost them the relationship. They no longer want to prove who's right. They no longer want distance, defensiveness, or emotional games. So the emotional truth might be that they would rather find peace with you than continue protecting their own ego. And then we arrive at the stars card. And this is the most hopeful card in this reading up till now. Despite everything that happened, they haven't completely lost hope. In fact, what they would confess is something like, I still believe this connection can heal. I just don't know if you'll still believe in me. So, this person may secretly hope that the damage isn't permanent, and they have started realizing that letting you go emotionally isn't nearly as easy as they convinced themselves it would be. So, the possibility of rebuilding this connection still lives in their heart, even if they have never admitted it loud. And because these energies are shifting away from pride towards healing, I wouldn't be surprised if this person begins looking for a very peaceful or a low conflict way to reconnect with you, Cancer. And rather than making a very dramatic type of declaration, they are more likely to test the emotional waters first, perhaps through a casual meeting or a little message, a small gesture, or an indirect attempt to reopen the communication. But here's what I still don't understand, that if they are finally letting go of fear and they're beginning to hope again, will those feelings actually become action? Or will hesitation delay this connection once more? Let's uncover this person's next move towards Cancer. We have got the Six of Wands, the Ten of Wands, and the High Priestess in reverse. Well, Cancer, this spread tells me something is definitely shifting, but it isn't as straightforward as it first appears. Because the Six of Wands here immediately tells me that this person wants to be seen differently by you. They want to regain your respect, your attention, or perhaps even prove that they are capable of showing up in a very better way than they did before. So there is a strong desire to overcome the image they believe you currently have of them. But then we run into this Ten of Wands. And this tells me that they are carrying a tremendous emotional burden, guilt, responsibility, pride, or simply the weight of everything left unresolved. And it is making every step towards you very heavier than it should. So, the more they think about reaching out, the more pressure they place on themselves to say the very perfect things. So, I feel that they genuinely want progress, but they are making that progress far more complicated than it needs to be. We have got this High Priestess in reverse, and this changes everything. This card tells me that hidden emotions are getting harder to contain. Secrets don't stay buried forever, and neither do feelings. So, this person is approaching a point where remaining silent may actually feel more uncomfortable than finally speaking up. So I think this person has been pretending to have everything under their control, but internally they're becoming emotionally overwhelmed. They're reaching a stage where keeping everything inside is starting to exhaust them. And Cancer, because your sign naturally values emotional honesty, Spirit is showing me that this person is slowly realizing that they cannot continue hiding behind the silence forever. So I do expect movement from this person, Cancer, but not in the form of an immediate grand romantic gesture. Their first step is more likely to be something like breaking the silence, sending a simple text message, or responding after a very long pause, or finding an excuse to reconnect, testing whether the door is still, open for them before revealing everything that they're truly feeling. So basically, they want reassurance before they risk their full vulnerability to you, Cancer. But here is the question that still remains, that if this person takes the first step, where could this connection actually lead? So let's uncover the future energy surrounding uh, Cancer and this person. And let's see what path the two of you are currently moving towards. So we have the Knight of Swords and the King of Swords and the Two of Pentacles. Hmm. Well, Cancer, this future energy feels very different from where the reading began. So earlier we saw hesitation, we saw emotional avoidance and fear, but now the energy is beginning to shift towards clarity, but not without a few challenges here. The King of Swords here tells me that something may happen more quickly than either of you expects. So, after spending so much time holding back, this person reaches a point where they feel that they can no longer remain silent. This energy often represents sudden communication or a direct conversation or someone finally acting on the thoughts that they have been suppressing for so long. Also, we have got the King of Swords, and this tells me that the conversation itself may be honest but emotionally restrained. So rather than pouring their heart out immediately, this person is likely to approach Cancer very logically, trying to keep control of their emotions while still addressing what has been left unresolved. So the emotional truth here is that they're finally choosing clarity over confusion. But here's the contradiction. The Two of Pentacles shows that even after communication begins, the connection doesn't instantly becomes simple. There are still some practical decisions, some emotional uncertainties, or life circumstances that needs to be balanced. One or both of you may continue weighing whether reopening this connection is truly the right path or not. So I think this person has already been mentally rehearsing a conversation with you, Cancer. They may appear very calm on the outside, but they have imagined a different outcome over and over again. The decision they have been struggling with isn't whether they care, it's whether they are ready to deal with the consequences of finally saying what they have been holding back for so long. So I do believe this person is moving closer to action. However, the Knight of Swords suggests that they won't remain passive forever. However, once communication begins, don't expect every issue to disappear overnight. Instead, I see that there is a period of honest conversations, careful decision making, and both of you trying to determine whether this connection can be rebuilt on some stronger foundations. Okay, so after everything we have seen today, what is the one emotional truth this person can no longer deny even to themselves? Let's cover the final emotional truth for the Cancer. We have the Four of Wands, the Hierophant, and the Ace of Wands in reverse. Well, Cancer, this may be the most powerful spread of the entire reading because it strips away the fear, the pride, and the emotional defensiveness that we have been uncovering from the very beginning. The Four of Wands here, it tells me that this person can no longer deny that they still see you as someone they could genuinely build a future with. This isn't simply about missing you anymore. It's about recognizing the emotional security, the peace, the sense of home that they associate with this connection. And with the presence of this Hierophant card, the message even becomes deeper. This card tells me that their feelings have matured beyond this temporary type of attraction. Whether they admit it publicly or not, they're beginning to understand that this connection carries some real meaning. So, for some of you, this connection points towards thoughts of commitment. For some, it could be reconciliation or building something on deeper foundations. So, Cancer, I see that they no longer see you as just a chapter in their life. They see you as someone who could have or still could be a lasting part of their future. But with the presence of this Ace of Wands in reverse, here lies some contradiction because the desire is there, the vision is there, the emotional truth is there, yet they're struggling to ignite that first spark of action. So fear hasn't erased their feelings, it has just delayed their ability to act on them. So I think this person has already imagined what a future would look like with you. What they are secretly grieving isn't only this relationship itself, it's the future that they once pictured with you, and now it feels uncertain. That's a realization that they can no longer, push away. And because these cards combine long term intention with delayed action, I don't believe that this person is emotionally walking away. Instead, I see someone slowly preparing themselves for a conversation that carries much more weight than a simple, "How have you been?" And when they do reach out, it won't just be about breaking the silence. It will be about finding out whether there's still a chance to rebuild what was nearly lost. But before you make any decisions about this connection, the spirit wants to turn the focus back to you. So let's ask for guidance specifically for Cancer. What should Cancer protect, heal, or release or embrace moving forward, regardless of what this person chooses to do? We have the Fool's energy, then we have the King of Wands in reverse, and the Three of Swords in reverse. Cancer, after everything we have uncovered today, the spirit is gently bringing the focus back to where it belongs. That's to you. Because while we have spent this reading understanding your person's heart, Spirit wants to remind you that your healing and your future cannot depend solely on someone else's choices. The Fool's energy is a beautiful card to begin this advice with. Spirit is encouraging the Cancer to stop carrying this connection as though it is the only path your heart can ever walk to. So, whether this person returns or not, life is still inviting you towards new beginnings, fresh opportunities, and emotional freedom. Cancer, your sign naturally holds on to memories because they make you feel emotionally connected. But the fool here says that there comes a moment when healing requires trusting the unknown instead of clinging to what feels familiar. Also, because of the presence of the King of Wands here in reverse, this isn't necessarily describing your person anymore. It's describing an energy the spirits wants you to avoid. Don't allow someone else's inconsistency, pride, or hesitation to dictate your self worth. If another person's action leave you constantly questioning where you stand, spirit is asking you to stop chasing that certainty from that person who still isn't certain about what they feel within themselves. So I actually feel the spirit saying something very direct here. Stop caring for someone who doesn't care for you. Stop carrying the emotional responsibility for a relationship that was always meant to be carried by two people, not you just alone. You have done enough. You don't have to convince someone to choose you. And with this Three of Swords in reverse, this is one of the most healing cards you could receive. This tells me that your heart is already beginning to recover, even if you don't always notice it. You know, healing doesn't mean forgetting. Healing means reaching a place where no pain is able to control your decisions. So, over the coming weeks, I see Cancer becoming much more emotionally balanced. And instead of constantly asking, will they come back? You are slowly beginning to ask, does this connection truly give me the love and the consistency I deserve? And that shift changes your energy completely. And when Cancer stops carrying the entire emotional weight of the connection, that's often when the relationship dynamic itself begins to change. So the Spirit's guidance is clear. You walk towards your future with an open heart, but don't abandon your self respect to keep someone else comfortable. Heal what has hurt you. Trust your intuition. And remember that the right relationship will never require you to endlessly question your own self worth. So, Cancer, your story is still being written, and whatever unfolds next, never forget that you deserve a connection where love, effort, and emotional honesty they flow in both directions. As I told you, that tarot reflects the current energy, not a fixed outcome, and free will always exist. And both you and your person have the power to shape what comes next through your choices. So, Cancer, if this reading resonated with you, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Let me know your zodiac sign and which part of the reading spoke to your heart the most. Thank you for spending this time with me here at the Destiny of Oracles. Your energy is always appreciated. Until our next reading, take good care of yourself, wishing you clarity, healing, and the kind of love that feels safe, mutual, and genuine.